All right. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about taming the paper tiger. You guys know Barbara is the paper tiger lady, right? So we're going to be talking about something we never in a million years thought we would be talking about, Barbara. I don't know about you, and that is taming the paper tiger with AI. Why organizing your life is now the number 2 reason that people use AI and how we're soaring with it. So, I mean, can you even imagine? I don't even imagine 6 months ago, Barbara, that we would be talking about taming the paper tiger with AI.
Well, you're ahead of me. So for me, it would have been 3, maybe 2 months ago. So
Okay.
I'm newer than you. You, as always, with technology, you're always ahead of me.
Well, I don't know if you remember this. I'm going to give you some credit because you actually asked me, it's been probably a year ago, where you asked me if I had ever heard of ChatGPT, and I had not. You came to me first, and I think you probably heard it on one of Perry Marshall's calls or something, because he's always way up there with technology. And I was like, no, what's that? So you brought it to me, Barbara.
All right. Well, tell them who you are. Here we are.
Oh, yeah, I missed that part. I'm so excited to talk about this. I'm Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute. I am in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, joined by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Awesome. And we are excited to share this topic with you today. We've been using AI and ChatGPT specifically in Productive Environment Institute for a while. But then Barbara stumbled on an article that she wanted to share. We discussed. Let me just share this quick comment, Barbara. Pam says Barbara is always on the leading edge. And that is so true. That is true. So she's been ahead of the curve for 47 years. We are actually celebrating Barbara's 47 years in business. I was going to say this month, actually next month, in June 5th, 1978 is the date that she put her ad our $7 ad in a New York City newspaper for professional organizing help. So we're 47 years in, Barbara, and you're using AI now. What? So tell us a little bit about that, and you finding this article and what you were excited about with it, and then we'll discuss.
Well, first of all, I think that one of the things that God has given me the honor of doing is being a pioneer in a lot of things. Just in general, I adopted orphan children from India and took them to Nebraska, in the 50 years ago, and it made the front page of the paper because that was just... Wow. That was not anything that anybody did. And when I wrote Taming the Paper Tiger in 1988, no one had ever written a book about organizing paper. And then when Productive Environment Institute, when we went to organizing digital information, Taming the Digital Tiger. So I have been honored and blessed to be introducing things in the beginning. And I read a study this week in the Wall Street Journal. My husband gets the Wall Street Journal every morning, and so I don't read the whole thing through. He tears out things. In fact, in one of the books, I credited him as the company archivist because he tears out articles. And it was an article released from Harvard University that the number 1 way that people are using AI is for therapy and companionship, and the number 2 way is organizing your life. And I just was blown away. I just thought, oh my gosh, because it's so ironic that in the 47 years I've been doing this, what I've discovered is the critical factor for really organizing your life for the purpose that God intended you to live is about having a system for organizing your life, but developing a companionship with your creator. And I saw that as like, oh, this is it. I mean, it just blew me away. I just wept. I just absolutely wept because
it's amazing. It's exciting. And it's amazing that if you look over here on the list in 2024, what people were using it for. And on that list already was therapy and companionship. Now, I do not recommend that it replaces a therapist, but it can be incredibly helpful in processing things. So,
Well, the top
but
therapists will be using AI to
that's
be
right.
better therapists.
That's right. That's exactly right. What blows my mind is that over here in 2025, just 1 year later, organizing my life is number 2, and it is a new use case. So nobody was using it all so far long ago last year. so that is a new use case. And then finding purpose and just, we were looking at all the things that relate to what we do in PEI, and it's certainly number 1, certainly number 2, certainly number 3, because when you clear the clutter, you might find a purpose that you didn't know you had when you start clearing the clutter out of the way. And then Barbie, you don't need this one. You don't need ChatGPT for this one, generating ideas. You are like the Barbara GPT for generating
Maybe
ideas.
it could help me have fewer ideas.
Right. Take away some ideas, but certainly healthier living, because when you have a healthier space, a healthier environment, a productive environment, it helps you with that. So it's just super exciting. When it first came out, like I wasn't, it being ChatGPT, AI in general, I kind of just dismissed it for a while. I was like, I don't have time to get into that stuff. Like, what does that even mean? And then so you go from not knowing what it is and dismissing it to being afraid of it. Like, oh my goodness, what's it going to do with our information? And should we use it? Is it going to replace us? And all of that. When we finally came to the realization that it's here, you guys, it's here to stay. And so if you learn some things to protect yourself, like some security things, which we teach our people, which we can share some links to in the description, but learn the security pieces and then learn how to use it for you. You do not have to learn every single thing about AI, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and the others. There's other tools out there. We just specifically use ChatGPT, so that's the one that we like to talk about. But you don't have to learn everything there is to know. If you just learn one thing, then
yeah, I want to put something in here. One of the things that all of my coaches through the years have chided me about is that I don't play enough. I'm too serious. I mean, I grew up, I didn't play growing up. I was an only child and was bullied in school. And so playing is just not part of and my husband says one of his phrases, always lighten up, lighten up. One of the ways that AI has contributed to the quality of my life in such a way is that it's enabled me to relax, to have more fun, to be more willing to explore, to be willing to take risks and things like that. But it is a tool like everything else. Mm-hmm. And I have a story in that I'm working with a company right now that's developing an app specifically related to publishing. And the person who was developing it was going down the road and all of a sudden realized that it had gone rogue. I mean, kind of like it just kind of gone crazy. And he scrapped the whole thing and realized the reason was that he had not put the boundaries on it that he needed to. So we talk all the time about relationship, and that what makes a healthy relationship is boundaries. You don't have a healthy relationship if there aren't boundaries. It's no different with AI. And so he started over again, and now it's working beautifully. And together we're collaborating on it. And I think it'll end up being so we're here to help you have fun, to help you organize your life, to help you find purpose. I think that getting rid of clutter, organizing in and of itself has no value. And there are people who have spent their entire lives organizing and really have nothing to show for it. The reason to organize your life and clear the clutter is so that you can be and do all that God created for you.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And AI is just a complement to that. AI helps you get there quicker, maybe. I've been using it a lot with my to-do list. So you guys know on this channel, we talk a lot about our to-do list, and we have a tool called our SOAR board. SOAR is systemize and organize with action and reference. Everything that we do, from our email to our paper to our digital world on our computers, everything is related to action, reference, and actually TOSS. So we're now calling it we're rephrasing some things that we've been using, some terms we've been using for 47 years. We're actually changing that up a little bit. Barbara invented or created what we call the FAT system, the File Act Toss system. And now we're putting everything in alignment with our new brand, with the SOAR board, which is systemized and organized with action and reference. So now, instead of File Act Toss, it's the art of organizing information, and ART is action, reference, toss. So you'll start hearing us say that. If you've been around us long, you're going to be like, what are they talking about? That's new. So we're going to practice the art of organizing information. And so one of the things that we teach in our SOAR board, with our SOAR board methodology, is to do a capture quest, which some of you may know as a brain dump. A capture quest is just gathering up all of your thoughts, ideas, to-dos, tasks, everything, and putting them on a list. So I'll do that in my SOAR board in my inbox. And how I'm using ChatGPT is I'll copy that whole list of all this random stuff, some things I need to do and some things I just want to keep for future reference. And I'll copy it and I'll paste it into the ChatGPT model. And I'll say, help me prioritize this based on the SOAR model. And it'll just start doing its thing. It'll start thinking, and then it'll pick out what's an action, and it will pick out what's a reference. And it will tell me, it will give me examples, ideas of where to file it if I want to file it under reference so that I can find it again. It actually, Barbara, it's amazing. I actually asked it to give me keywords. So it gives me keywords that I can, suggested keywords that I can use. And then the actions, it sorts by impact. It's not in any particular order other than your energy. Like, I think I might have specifically asked it, like, it'll give you your first tasks, things to get off your list that drain your energy, just to go ahead and get it out of there and get it done. And so anyway, I don't want to get into all of that, but it guides you through taking action, and it actually works.
Well, one of the other things is, one of the questions in PEI that we've asked probably millions of times now, if you think about it, we think of all the people, is, what is your next action?
Yep.
And that's one of the things that AI can help you do, is figure out, and it's very intuitive after it's been working with you for a while, to know what is the psychological block that is preventing you from doing it, which is why it's showing that therapy and companionship is an important.
Exactly. Yes. And so we want to share a little demo with you. This is something that we recently discovered. It's a fun thing you can do with ChatGPT. Now, I do have to tell you, this only works. You can only do this with the paid version of ChatGPT. So it's $20 a month. And if you only want to do this, you can sign up for 1 month and you can do it. Or you can send me a picture and I'll show you how to, I'll do it for you. But I'll talk about that in a second. But I want to show you a use case that we have found just very recently, as in like yesterday. That is an amazing, amazing use case. So I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. So basically what you do is you take a picture of a cluttered area. Okay. So take a picture of a cluttered area in your home or office. And then with the ChatGPT, you would upload it to ChatGPT and give it a prompt. And it basically, I'll share the prompt with you in a second, but it's basically saying, hey, show me what this space would look like without the clutter. Because sometimes we try to help people envision the after picture. And sometimes that's really hard when you're looking at it.
And it's really key. In fact, yesterday I was working with a client, and it was so amazing because she was reading me something. She said, oh, I read this. It just is wonderful. I can't even imagine this. And then she read it, and I said, you just exactly said, what is the problem? You can't imagine it. And I remember going to Epcot Center, I don't know, 60 years ago. And in the entrance, it said, if you can see it, you can believe it. Mm-hmm. And if you can't see it, then it's really hard to believe.
So exactly. So this gives you a way to see it. So let me share a quick comment here from Kathy. She's one of our certified productive environment specialists. AI can be a great partner. It often picks up on things we don't want to see.
Yes.
And that is absolutely
so
true.
I don't know how it does it. I mean, I just look at that. It's like, this is just unbelievable, but it's true.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to click on present and share my screen to show you an example. So share screen. This isn't Zoom, so it takes me a minute to get acclimated. This is StreamYard. So I want to share my declutter image transformations. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see in this picture, this top picture here, do you see it, Barbara?
Yes, it's kind of small. It's kind of hard to see.
Okay, yeah. I think I can, let me see if I can enlarge it. There we go.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yes.
Okay, so this is actually in my space. This is to the right is my desk, and to the left is I live in a very small condo. So to the left is the TV area. And so this is an ottoman that matches my couch that is just collecting clutter. Look at that, Valentine's Day. That's in February. I just noticed that. And so this is collecting clutter, and it's been driving me crazy. So I took a picture of it. And I said, create an image of what this space, ottoman, so you want to tell it what it is, would look like if it was cluttered, clean, and organized. Keep the same angle, because sometimes ChatGPT wants to change the angle for you. And this is what it came up with. I mean, you guys, look at this. Now that isn't exactly what the ottoman looks like. The shape, it's a little bit off, but that's okay. It grabbed what was actually on my TV and the screensaver on my computer, and it gave me this result back. And so I can see that, and I can say, oh, wow, I want that. And so I want to declutter that. Now, have I done that yet? No, but that is on my list. That's on my agenda. So I wanted to take it a little bit further and did it with a client. So this client sent me a picture of their workbench. I have permission to use these pictures. That I'm not giving names, and there's nothing in here that's identifying. So, but I do have permission to share these. So this is a workbench that this client has been working on. This is kind of their next area that they're going to work on. And I said, create an image of what this space. Oh, I actually redid it because I put in ottoman. I forgot to change that. Would look like if it was decluttered, clean, and organized. Keep the same angle. And check this out. I mean, it's not exactly, but it's pretty darn close. And it's just enough to let you imagine, right?
And I think, it's a frame. We often talk about frameworks in a way. It's like when you look at that, it's like, okay, well, there are probably going to be more things there, but it gives you a place to start. And, another thing that I recently have been thinking a lot about is how often when people want to get organized and clear the clutter, they often ask, what can I let go of? Because it is the letting go that's hard. But I think another way, and I'm going to be experimenting with this more in language with people going forward, is to really focus on, instead of the letting go, what is it that I have to have? And I can think of another example. I just came to me, but it's the same thing. When my husband and I were started talking about building this house, my husband says, okay, it's our dream house. What do you want in? Right. And I said, I just couldn't even, he said, just whatever you want, put it in there. So we did, it had all kind of fitness area and all kind. Well, it ended up being 10,000 square feet. I mean, it's like, really, that's ridiculous. After we spent all that time and money, I realized, oh my gosh, we should have done it exactly the opposite. And we should have said, let's put in what we have to have, or what we really, really want. Then we'll see how many square feet we have. And if we feel like we want to invest more in it, then we can add on. I mean, it's like, well, in a way, the same thing applies with clutter clearing. And in the early days when we did 8-hour miracles, we would take people's desks and slub it all off, and so they could actually start over.
Yes. So, with that immediate visual transformation. If anybody on here is familiar with the Fly Lady, that's one of the things she does. She says, take everything out of your kitchen sink and shine your kitchen sink, because that gives you an immediate feeling of calm. And she says, don't worry about anything else on the counter. Just clear everything out of the sink and shine the sink, and that's it. And once you do that, it triggers something in you to keep going. But you don't have to out of the gate. You don't have to. Just tell yourself, I'm only going to do this one thing.
Well, there's a very famous, I don't know who it is, but there was a very famous military person who gave a graduation speech that went absolutely viral. And it was about making your bed first thing in the morning. It's that kind of that same concept of getting you going. And I think about a client I had many years ago, one of my very, very first early clients. In fact, her husband was complaining about, because I think at that point I was coming maybe once a week, and he was complaining about the expense. And I remember she looked at him and said, the other option is a psychiatrist. And that was the end of that discussion.
Which would be more money.
Yeah. But what she discovered was she was the happiest and the calmest and most productive when she was traveling. And the reason, because she was in a hotel room without all that stuff. Without all the stuff. Exactly. All right. Let me share a couple more pictures here. So I was just having too much fun. Since I put left ottoman in, I redid it and actually put in the word workbench. It created the same picture. And then here is a dining room table that has a computer and some paper and some cardboard on it. And to give them an image, a feeling of what that space could look like, ChatGPT created this picture, which I thought was really cool, because if you look, let me give you the before picture. I'll blow it up. The chair on the left is white and the chair against the window is black. When ChatGPT did it, it turned all the chairs black. So it's not, the picture isn't identical, but it's so close that it gives you a visual. And so you see to the left of this, there's a box and there's a big something back there in black. And then there's a box to the right, because this is kind of a work in progress going on here. But look at the flowers. Even the flowers are sitting there. And then I'll show you what ChatGPT did with that. So you notice the chair on the left, they made it black, but there's nothing in the corners. The flowers, it expanded on the flowers. It's not the same vase, but again, close enough so you can imagine. Okay. So let me do a couple more, and then I'll come back off screen or stop sharing. So this is an office space. Okay. All right. So this is an office space. There's lots of boxes, lots of paper, lots of extra stuff here. And so looking at this, walking in and seeing this every day can be very overwhelming. And you probably could say, I can't imagine having this all cleared up. I can't imagine what this could look like. But with ChatGPT, you can imagine it. Look at this, you guys. I mean, this is just awesome. To be able to see what's possible. Again, it's not going to look exactly like this. But one thing, Barbara, you and I talked about earlier. Well, actually, wait. I'm going to wait because I have another one to show before I do that. I think I have another. Did I put that one in here? Now I can't remember if I did. I'll go ahead and say what we were going to say. If you were moving, let me come back over here. If you were moving and you had to declutter for the stagers to come, right? To come stage your home to move. How many of you guys watch like HGTV and you see that all the time? Love It or List It is a good one. It's like, can they love their space or should they list it? And they do all these major changes and it looks like the after picture. But then you're sad. You're like, I'm selling my home now. Why couldn't I have enjoyed this? Why couldn't I have enjoyed the after picture while I'm living there? And so this gives you an opportunity to do that. You can see it and then you get help. I'm not saying AI is going to come in and do the work for you. They are not. It is not. But that's where a certified productive environment specialist can come in. And this gives you hope and motivation. And then you need a plan. ChatGPT can actually give you the plan, but helping you execute the plan, that's where you would potentially need a coach, a certified productive environment specialist or another professional organizing coach to help you do it. Okay. AI is not going to come in and help you do it. And Tony says the possibilities are endless. Yes, they are, Tony. She's one of our most recent certified productive environment specialists. Yes, it's amazing. And I have to tell you, I'm not going to share any pictures on here now, but I sent these to Demetrius, who owns DFit, and he's all about physical transformations, health, your body, health and wellness. And he said,
I sent these pictures to him and he was like, wow. He's like, can it do that with people? And I said, I don't know. Let me try it. And I uploaded some pictures and it did it. It didn't do it exact. The faces were not exactly the same, but it gave just enough of a visual to be able to say, wow, I can see what's possible. So let me go back over here and see what else I wanted to share. So then I said, okay, so I saw the pictures and then I asked this prompt. I said, for the office, please create a 90-day step-by-step plan to make this transformation. Okay. And then ChatGPT came out with this. Here's a 90-day step-by-step decluttering and transformation plan. And it actually used language that we use with our program, our workflowy and our SOAR board. It used, it gives exactly the instructions we would give. Take before photos, walk through the space, toss obvious trash, your wrappers, broken items, empty boxes, etc. And it gives you a week by week plan. Okay, so that's phase 1, foundation and fast wins. Phase 2, because this isn't expected to be done overnight, but this can be done in 90 days, right? All right, so it gives very specific instructions. Then I said I wanted to make sure that it was using that picture as the basis. So I said, is this based on the actual office image I uploaded? And ChatGPT said, yes, the 90-day plan was crafted based directly on your uploaded office image. Here's how the steps map specifically to what I saw. This is what ChatGPT saw. Okay, based on what's in your photo, piles of cardboard boxes, some empty, some full. So weeks 1 and 2, focus on tossing, flattening, and clearing floor space. That will give you an immediate win. Overflowing desk and shelves with random categories mixed together, electronics, papers, tools, office supplies. So weeks 3 to 6, walk you through surface cleanup, drawer decluttering, and item-specific sorting. I'm just going to do this next one. Visible paper clutter and envelopes on the floor and desk. Weeks 7 and 8, emphasize filing systems using the Productive Environment Institute method of action, reference, and toss. And it gives you the week-by-week breakdown, which is amazing. Really amazing. Now, this is also where, like I said, you're going to want a coach, a specialist to kind of guide and walk you through it. You can have ChatGPT. You can say, give me these steps one by one at a time, and it'll break it down. But we do still recommend a coach because it can still be overwhelming, but this gives you a place to start. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Let me see if there was anything else on here I wanted to share. I asked the question, can someone do this image transformations with the free version of ChatGPT? And it said no. So you would need the $20 paid version. So you can actually just sign up for $20 a month and just do that one thing if you want. I honestly have found so many uses for ChatGPT that it is something that I do recommend. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Do recommend as worth every penny of the $20 a month.
Yeah.
However,
my husband and I are having fun with it. I mean, I did it. I'm doing it for composing recipes and looking up sports things and all kind of. We're really enjoying having.
He's using it. Alfred's using it too with you.
Well, I'm the one who executes it, and he asks better questions than I do. So he said, well, why don't you have, we call ours Clarence. Why don't you have Clarence do such and such? And so then he'll help me refine the question. So it's just.
Yes, I love that. And for those of you that don't know, Barbara, if you know Barbara, Pam, I know you do from way back. She had this big stuffed tiger. Like you can't even see it on the screen. Okay, big stuffed tiger. And when I met Barbara and I took my first training in 2005, so 20 years ago, she brought the tiger to training. And so the tiger went, she said, yes, hold on. Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. She's talking about ChatGPT. I'll show that in a second. So anytime Barbara did a event, you went to a trade show, you always had the tiger's name was Clarence.
I had a big suitcase and Clarence has traveled to the West Coast at least 3 times.
And then I was so inspired. I had not even I don't even know if I had met you yet. I must have met you and then did the train somewhere in that time frame. I bought everything that you had out. You bought your to-do book and your declutter campaign thing you were doing and every book you had. And I went to a local toy store. It was kind of a retro old kind of toy store here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I found a clearance and I bought it. And I had that big old tiger too for a really long time. I think when one of the moves, I got rid of it. But
I don't have it. I don't have it anymore. And that's an example of giving up the good to get the best, because I loved it, but it really was, I didn't want to be stuck there. I really didn't. And so I was working with a feng shui consultant, and we went through and took out probably 80% of the tiger related things in the house, because it was like they were becoming clutter. And it was hard because I had to go through that emotion. And every once in a while I think, oh, it'd be fun to have it. But then I think of all the things that I don't have anymore that I'm happier about. So
exactly. So anyway, I like to name, when I first started using ChatGPT, I was so blown away that I felt like I was actually interacting with a person. And so the name Conrad came to me. So I named my ChatGPT Conrad. So the other day, Barbara said, what? I haven't figured out a name for mine. I was like, oh my God, Barbara, it's Clarence.
Clarence the collaborator. And I'm always about collaboration.
Clarence,
Clarence
that's
the
right.
collaborator.
Clarence the collaborator. Exactly. So a couple things and then we'll wrap up. Kathy says, I use ChatGPT for meal planning and consolidating my grocery list. Yes. And Barbara, don't you do that where you put into ChatGPT what you have, ingredients you have in your refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
And it builds a recipe for you. So that's really cool. And then Pam says, yes, I resisted and resisted, but paying for ChatGPT has been so worth it. Yeah, we don't make a dime, you guys, if you guys sign up for a paid ChatGPT. They do not have an affiliate program. I asked ChatGPT if they did. They do not, but we recommend it. So you can just go to chatgpt.com. And that's the easiest one. Like I said, it's the main one that I've used. So that's what we're familiar with. And you can try it for free. There's limitations, but you can do quite a bit with the free version. But it is worth it. Now, with that said, if you do not want to pay for it, you're not there just yet, but you would like to see an after picture, a potential image of what your space could look like, then I want to invite you to go to our 12-minute, we have a 12-minute free training. You go to lesscluttermorelife.com. Just sign up for that training. So you'll start getting emails from us. You'll get an immediate, you can always unsubscribe later if you don't want to, but you'll get an email. If you reply to that email, first of all, watch the training. It's good. Reply to that email and send me, it comes directly to me. Send me a picture. So use your iPhone, whatever, take a picture of a cluttered space in your home or office and reply to that email with that picture. I will run it through my ChatGPT and get your after picture, and I will send it back to you so you can see what's possible. Okay. So I invite you to do that. If you don't get the reply email for whatever reason, then you can email me directly. Thank you, Eds. You can email me directly at Andrea@productiveenvironment.com. Send me a picture of your most cluttered area. I did have one more picture I wanted to show you. I know we're out of time. Barbara, if you want to share anything as we wrap up, I want to just share one more before and after that I thought was really good and worth sharing. So any closing thoughts?
I don't want you to be overwhelmed by this and say, oh my gosh, something else to do. Don't look at it that way at all. This is a tool, and we always talk about tools. And the reason we want you to join SOAR and join us is because we are here to provide support and accountability and a real system so you can accomplish your work and enjoy your life. That's what we're passionate about. That's why people say, why don't you retire? I say, I'm just refired. And after this Harvard study came out, I've got all new generators to refire me even more.
That's right. It's really exciting. So here, I want to share one last picture with you. This is one of my favorites. This is actually a friend of mine, and this is her garage on the left, and then the potential after on the right. It still included the water heater in there. And I asked her, I said, how does this make you feel? She said, I'm blown away. Like, this is amazing. I said, is it motivating for you? And she said she said she's very motivated by that after image. So, give yourself an idea of what is possible. Okay. And like I said, email me, go to lesscluttermorelife.com and send me a picture. I'm happy to, I have fun with it. So I'm happy to get those pictures. Send them over to me. All right. So that is it. We will post in the description a link to the article that Barbara originally found with put this organizing as number 2, the infographic, and any other things that we talked about on here. We'll make sure that they're in the description. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next Pep Talk. Thanks, everybody.